Hey everybody, it's Liz from Delaney and Sons, and I have a different kind of interview for you today. You can tell they're in a very cool place. Hi, Bob and Kate, how are you?
Well, Liz,
Hey.
Where are you? Yeah, tell us
welcome to
where you
Taylor.
are and what you do. Yeah, tell us where you are and what you do.
We are presently in my office in the upstairs of my 1760 house, as you can see. And this is the think tank where we do the actual patterns and designs for our clothing, which is, as you know, as good sporting clothing right here.
Yeah.
So
Well, good. So Ermilio Clothiers has been around for quite some time. I've done a little bit of research on you guys. So tell us the history. I know it's been in your family for generations, but tell us how it got started and how, long it's been going.
my grandfather came over. They set up a uniform business. He worked first for a uniform business in Philadelphia. Then he started his own business on Walnut Street, Philadelphia. And we had a lot of salespeople at that time in the 20s and 30s. And my father's territory is much like mine today that I enjoy. I'm sort of reintroducing going south of the Mason-Dixon line with my clothing, and I enjoy doing that. And that's where we are in the sporting world. We go down to Braze Island and we will make shooting attire, of course, blazers and regular clothing. But my passion is sporting attire. Wall Street Journal listed me as the #1 coat maker for sporting attire in the United States, which I'm glad they did.
That's wonderful.
That has brought me people from all over the world have come to my office in New York, and I read this, make me something. Okay, I can do that.
All
But
right, well, go ahead.
I enjoy the process of riding apparel, which is similar to shooting apparel. It's all motion clothing. For example, when my father made Dwight Eisenhower's clothing, when we make clothing for the presidents, we make 2 coats. We make one for standing up and one for sitting down, the coat. So we cut the back out so that it doesn't wrinkle in the back. So I worked President Ford. My father made and designed the first Eisenhower jacket for World War II. And our history is the making of the first masters.
And definitely, it's the shooting world that I've seen you in. I've seen you guys at a lot of shows, and that's how I got to know you. And some of our clients have asked you to design and make clothing for them in the field. So your stuff is beautiful, I have to say. I just love walking past your booth at these shows because there's so many neat patterns, and the way you make it takes such thought. So tell me a little bit more about what makes you guys unique, because from what I can see, it's very important to have a coat that moves with you when you bring the gun up, because we've had people on our shoots that have jackets made, beautiful tweed jackets, but they can't shoot within them. It's almost just fine for, dinners, but shooting is different. So explain that to us.
If I'm sitting at a desk, if I'm designing clothing for Brooks Brothers or whatever, I only do natural traditional shoulder clothing. Your coat sleeve is much deeper sitting down, so the armhole is deeper on most generic coats throughout the United States. That's exactly wrong in riding horses. Same thing with shooting. If you want to ride or if you want to walk, if your pants are down here, you can't move your legs. The same thing with your armhole. constantly make the mistake of designing shooting clothing with a regular armhole. It'll never work because the coat will always move. You don't want that. You want a high armhole and the coat to stay with you when you're shooting. What people are getting, they're not getting the design right. And it's disheartening. I can see these coats moving around. That's because the armhole's too deep. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. And something with the back, I know that there have to be something in the back of a coat to make it kind of.
Most people know me in the horse world as opposed to the shooting world. However, my first love is the shooting world because I've been at vintagers as long as vintagers have been around. So Ray could tell you that I am the official clothier for the vintagers. At least that's what he tagged me for many years being at the vintagers. But anyhow, so the problem with most shooting clothing is, and riding clothing, is the shape of the shoulder. You either have 1, 2, 3, 4. If it isn't perfectly balanced on the shoulder, the rest of the coat is wrong always. For example, if you get a stock size coat and you're right shoulder low, men are right shoulder low 75% of the time. Women are reverse. So you want to have the shoulder in the same slope so it doesn't move when you pick up your gun. So the balance on the shoulder has to be right. So I have to look at the client and say, well, he's sloping right and he's square shouldered on the left. Well, if that isn't built into the coat from day one, you don't have a good coat. Plus, you got to have the armhole right and a thinner sleeve for shooting. Same thing with riding. In the equestrian world, I make the coat shorter in the front and longer in the back. So, and I twist the sleeves an inch forward. So when you're going over a coupe or a rail, the coat goes down over the coupe or rail and your back goes up, and you don't get what they call, in the riding world, we call it being snatched, where it bothers you under the arms and everything else. So you build that into a coat for the professionals. And I brought it along to the shooting world also.
Okay, so you are going to be bringing, I know that you're meeting people at the Vintage Gunners and you're delivering some coats to them that they've had made. So if somebody wanted to get an outfit for shooting, let's say, what is the process that they normally would go through with you?
We take photographs and we take specific measurements depending upon what kind of garment they need. Whether it's breeks or whatever. So that's what we do. And it's just like having the right doctor. I see your problem. We'll correct it. We don't go into it that you fell off a horse and you've ever broken arm. Every coat and every person is different.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm here to enjoy.
I think also in the construction of the coat, I mean, of course, the design and the pattern is the first thing, but we sew coats. And what you have a lot on the market when you see what we call mannequin appeal, that usually won't work in an active environment. And a lot of times with a mannequin appeal type coat, which isn't built as what we quote motion clothing, those coats many times are all what's called fused and glued. They're hit with a hot iron. What we do, we sew all of our coats, and sewing gives you personality. With a glued coat, they'll oversize it to fit you because there's no movement in the coat. So you're moving inside a rigid object. When Bob builds a coat, when our team puts that together, these talented sewers, these artists that we have that hand sew these coats that we make, they're built with personality in that sewing has expression and movement, which is why the coats work the way they do. As I said, so many of what you see in fast fashion is all glue gun. They take a beautiful tweed, hit it with some fusing on the inside with a hot iron, and sell it. It looks gorgeous on a mannequin, but that's not what we do. This is what's very individualized.
This is the old
clothing.
method,
Yeah.
the old world.
It's a
which,
dinosaur.
yeah.
I don't think anybody does patterns from scratch anymore on paper like we do, but he still does it.
Well, and you need to have a coat that fits you. I mean, not everybody is, you know, built like a mannequin, and you want to go in the field, you want to be comfortable, you want to hit those birds, and you're not going to hit them if you are restricted. So I think that your design and your thinking is wonderful. So if somebody wanted, then they get measured. And so if somebody wanted to have a coat, they'd get measured and then they'd pick out their own patterns. Is that right?
They'll pick out a fabric and we create the pattern. Bob
Oh,
creates
okay.
based on special measurements that we do, along with a what we call posture profile of specialized photographs that we work together. He knows exactly where, and that's something that's very nuanced in that I can't do what he does. It's the art, and he's able to zero in on those specific anatomical differences in human beings that translate into a product that they can actually work and shoot and ride horses in. We have people come into us and they'll look at a coat and they'll say, oh, custom coat, you know, look at the price tag or whatever. And I explain to them on the decision tree, I say, you have the horse, you have the stabling, you have the vet fees, you have the feeding, you have the farrier fees, you have the training, you have the taking the horse to the show, and all the entry fees. The coat is really expensive when you build that whole decision tree of what goes in for a kid to show in a ring. And so we give that child or that adult the eye candy so that the judges recognize them and that catches their eye. They look beautiful. It's a package. It's a team.
And it's probably very unique. You want to be individual. I like that. I would rather be in something that nobody else has. So so that's one thing that makes you stand out. And I think that's where we're going to these days. I think people want to be unique, and they love that sporting lifestyle where they have their gun, they have their dog, they are out in the field, and part of the tradition is putting on your jacket and tying up your tie and putting on your breeks and your socks with the flashing. It's just something that's just exciting to head out into the field with that, with the I don't know what the word is. Maybe you could help me, but it's just this pride that you have on.
We had a client from Canada contact us. We were at the at Dallas Safari. We do Dallas Safari and Houston and SCI in Nashville. And this fellow's a Canadian, and he was one of the two people invited by Purdy to shoot on the Queen's hunting grounds. Probably, I think he was the first Canadian ever, and I'm not sure an American has ever been invited. It's mostly, I guess, Brits and all, but he wore his outfit that we made him, and everyone was congratulating him on his looking and where, sir, is your tailor? And the same thing happened with another fellow who was out with Lloyd's of London and all these big corporate guys. And they said, it's this little Italian guy in New York. So it's.
What can I say? There's something very interesting that you might overlook. Back when my father was alive, the tweeds, you see the tweeds with the plaids that we all love. Well, today, in the last 20 years, they've been able to make these tweeds in much lighter weight, thinner cloths. So these look like the old heavy, beautiful tweeds we see in the distance, but they're not. So you can wear them in Charleston. You can wear them south of the Mason-Dixon line. This is very important because Americans don't like to get hot, number one. And number two, they just can't stand anything tight. So they go to Europe and they get a coat and, excuse me, it's tight. Not what Americans are about and American shooters. We want our comfort and we want our look at the same time. And that's what I'm here to do.
Yeah, yeah. So that jacket's really nice. And a lot of times people say that they can wear their clothes out into the field and then they can wear their clothes at dinner. That's how nice we get dressed up to go out into the field. So, but you can travel in that coat, right? Tell me the little neat things that you've added where you could just wear that coat, not just for shooting.
On the right-hand side, on all my clothing, even most of my suits in New York, passport pocket with a tab. These are real English horn buttons. A scarf pocket, or what we call a hair pocket in fox hunting, with the two tabs. Then on the left side, we have glass pocket, regular pocket, and then a tab cell phone pocket. So you can throw it up in an airplane and not worry about all your stuff being lost.
Yeah.
And my people travel, and this is what we need.
Well, I would love that because guess what? I don't like to carry a purse. So that kind of jacket just is right up my alley.
Never care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. Is there anything else that you would like to add about Ermilio Clothiers?
Oh, here.
Oh, this is a coat we're delivering.
Here's a coat we're delivering to a woman.
With the racing.
Oh my gosh, I love that in the middle.
This is wax silk lining.
French silk.
French wax silk lining. And this woman lives here and has in real English born functional buttonholes. This is what my customer grew up in.
Yeah, yeah, that's neat. Well, it's just so special to have something so unique just for you. And I know that you don't just do jackets, you do vests, right? You can do a shooting vest. I know that
we make a lot of riding apparel. Fortunately, I had an appointment with Jackie Onassis 2 weeks before she passed. My family made the Bouvier family. We made all their riding apparel.
okay. Wow. That vest is nice.
Now this is a woman's vest, but look, it has a leather looking, but it's embossed flowers on it.
Okay. I can't really see that, but that's neat.
I'm sure it's hard to.
I don't know if you can see the.
Will you bring that to the vintagers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see that then.
But this is darted correctly for a woman, and it's the tab is for a sweater the way it is, and then you pull it tighter, and this keeps this tight so this doesn't move when you wear a shirt.
Okay.
But
that's neat.
The beauty of this is, you see these little tabs?
Mm-hmm. And
Great
yeah.
big inverted pleat in the back. So when you're, again, shooting, you expand while you're bringing your arm, hands up.
That's
putting darts here doesn't do you any good. It's the back that has to be opened up when you shoot.
right, right.
Here is a gentleman's hunt frock, which is one of the hardest coats to make with leather. And I made this for him 23 years ago. I'm just making him a new one.
Wow.
Here, this is a fox hunting coat. This is what we're known for, but the same use of motion in fox hunting is the same as in sporting shooting.
Okay.
It's interesting because the two disciplines, they come together. A lot of riders enjoy sporting clays and shooting, wing shooting, and a lot of wing shooters ride. So it's we end up having the opportunity to help people with their recreational clothing, and you know, it should be fun. I mean, this is your recreation. This is what you enjoy, and you should be comfortable while doing it.
Exactly. And if it lasts a long time, that's even better.
Well, that's one thing I say all the time, that basically we've been involved with saving the environment by creating clothing that's durable, that's passed to generation, and based on that, we made the first green jacket for Augusta for the golf, and we continue to make green jackets for the environment because they stay in play and don't disappear and go away into the landfill. So it's nice that people can pass down the clothing from generation to generation.
I love your stuff. I can't wait to see your things at the Vintage Gunners this September. And I think you're definitely bringing things for your clients, but then you'll also have things for sale just for, you know, anybody that can try it on, and if they fit into it.
We have some stuff from a company in England called English Utopia that makes wonderful wax jackets, some quilted products. And again, we've worked with Gary on patterns and on various accoutrements, on things that we think that folks in the wing shooting world would enjoy. So they have some specialty eye candy as well as functionality. So we'll be bringing that as well.
These are wax jackets, but they're over the top.
They're pretty over
the quality,
the
cloth leather trims, and
they're really beautiful. Yeah.
English fabrics around it. It's the best in the world.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. All right.
We do the women's
Pardon? Say that again, Bob.
We do the women's in it also.
Oh, good, good. Yes. Well, wonderful. I'm so glad that we finally got to see each other, and I get to learn a little bit more, because whenever I'm there, I'm kind of busy at my own booth. So we see each other, but don't ever really get to sit down, and I get to learn. I learned a little bit more today about your clothes. So that's exciting. I can't wait to see you guys.
Yeah, you should come on out to the East End one of these days, and love to have you.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to do that. Yeah. Well, good. All right. Well, I will see you guys in a couple weeks, and thanks again.
Thanks, Liz. I appreciate you
Really
doing
glad
this.
you're doing this. Yeah, the vintagers.
Sure. It's been fun. All right. See you guys. Bye.
Take care.